LeBron James on receiving NFL interest during the NBA lockout in 2011. Yes, there was an NBA lockout on top of the NFL lockout, but the NFL was back and the NBA was in flux, and LeBron James says, I would have made the team. One thing about it, I don't mind working for something, so I would have had to try out for the Cowboys or the Seahawks, or if I'd stayed home and went back home to Cleveland, I'd have tried out, but I would have made the team. I just know what I'm capable of doing on the football field, especially at that age. 10 years ago, large human being who would have been an excellent tight end. I think he did the right thing by sticking with the NBA, but I don't doubt that just the size, the body shape, everything about. I mean, he would have been a great football player. I don't know how long he would have lasted in the NFL physically, but he would have been a great football player. I'm convinced of that.
Yeah, and you look at all the players in the past, Mike, that Cowboys have had who played other sports. You look at Bob Hayes was the fastest man ever, won the 100 in the Olympics, and they've tried a whole bunch of guys. They even drafted Carl Lewis one year, and so it would have made perfect sense if LeBron was going to go play football, that he would play for the Cowboys, who, by the way, are his favorite team. And I think it would have been I look back on the Cowboys in 2011, who their tight ends were. Of course, they had Jason Witten, who was still in the prime of his career at that point. They had Martellus Bennett, and they had John Phillips. So he certainly could have made the roster as at least their third tight end, and they'd have found a role for him for sure. But I have no doubts, Mike, that he could have played in the NFL and been a really good football player.
He was 26 at the time. He played receiver in high school. Much more filled out, though, as a grown man than he was in high school, like we see so many of the NBA players do. They get thicker and thicker. Football players as well. I remember how skinny Vince Young was when I first saw him playing for Texas, and he was anything but as he got deeper and deeper in his NFL career. The reality, though, is it seems like most football players would love to play in the NBA, but few NBA players would love to play in the NFL. I think that, the pay, what do we do every July when NBA free agency happens? We marvel at the contracts being given to guys we've never heard of, right? I mean, I don't follow basketball closely enough, and even then, the people who do follow, like, who the hell is that getting $20 million a year? So when you only have 5 guys on the floor, and you play 82 games, and you have a TV contract that ESPN put way too much money into, you get a ton of money for NBA players. And, Randy Moss would have loved to play in the NBA. Terrell Owens would have loved to play in the NBA. It just shows you how rare the skill sets are to be highly effective NBA players. And LeBron James, the king of that mountain, at least current day. I don't want to get into the whole LeBron, Michael Jordan thing. But, he would have been selling his talent short if he had played football. I say that as an ardent supporter of the sport, but I recognize that the guys who would be the best basketball players should not be messing around with football.
It's amazing, Mike, when you go in an NFL locker room, that's all they want to talk about is the NBA. I mean, Des Bryant was the biggest NBA fan of all time, but all of them, they follow the NBA, they debate the NBA, that's all they want to talk about, and they would have loved, if they could have done it, to have been basketball players. I guarantee you, you get to play more games, you make more money, you have longer careers. I mean, what's not to like about that? And so a lot of those players in the NFL would have loved to have gone and played basketball. I'm with you. There are very few NBA players that say, I wish I was playing in the NFL. But LeBron is one that I have full confidence could have been good at whatever sport he tried. And having said that, Michael Jordan wasn't a great baseball player, but I think LeBron could have at least done football.
And I think if Michael Jordan had done baseball from the get-go and stuck with it,
maybe.
Kind of like Tim Tebow, maybe, just maybe. But hey, I say the same thing about baseball. If you got a great football player who could be a Major League Baseball player, I'd take Kyler Murray. You play baseball a lot longer. Now, Kyler Murray may make more money playing football if he gets a franchise quarterback contract, but my son, nephew, brother, friend, anyone, all things equal, I'd say play baseball professionally over football because you will play longer, you'll be healthier on the back end, and there's a good chance you'll make far more money. Remember Jeff Samardzija? He would have been a first-round receiver 10, 12 years ago. He made, we did the math at one point, he made more than Calvin Johnson in his baseball career, maybe significantly more than Calvin Johnson in his baseball career, and doesn't have the health issues that pushed Calvin Johnson out of the sport after only 9 seasons.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.